morning.
Morning.
And it is morning this time. We're up and about this morning, ready to go and have a hike because the sun is shining. Last night's park up on the Gendarmstien, the Gendarmstien Trail, was absolutely stunning. Really gorgeous by the sea. I was lying in bed last night listening to the waves lap against the shore. It was really, really lovely. So the trail itself is a hiking trail and it's 84 kilometres long. We walked just about 5 kilometres of it yesterday, and now we're going to drive further along the trail to do another piece at the end, and then that's us done with this trail. So we're just walking 2 sections of it, and then we'll be moving on to our next activity tomorrow. So that's us today. And yeah, the sun is shining. It's very windy out there today, and there's some quite high winds forecast this afternoon, but a nice bright sunny day and no rain forecast. So that's us just parked up for a hike. I'm doing this in the van because it's very, very, very windy out there, so future updates may come with a little bit of wind noise. Yeah, it's a really, really blustery day. So we're out on the tongue of this gendarme walk, so we're going to walk that way, and there's a couple of things for us to see. Ancient forests, I think some burial mounds and some other things. We went along the trail last night and just picked a bit to hike, so that's the plan for today. My gosh, it's bloody windy! Wow! Gorgeous day, but wow, this wind has nearly blown me off my feet. I couldn't get out the van door. Well, this should be an interesting hike.
Oh, it's lovely in the sun. A bit chilly with the wind.
Well, we always say that the best of any country is inland, but we haven't been anywhere yet where we haven't been able to see the sea. I'm sure there must be some inland here, but we haven't got to it yet. What a beautiful country Denmark's turning out to be so far. It's like the flatness of the Netherlands meets the beauty of Scotland. It's absolutely beautiful. The houses are gorgeous. The coast is beautiful and rugged. Yeah, stunning. Loving it so far. Only 2 days in.
Come on.
I don't know if I caught him on camera or not.
Red Admiral butterflies in, where are we, September?
I think is it October today?
October today,
Either today or tomorrow.
yeah.
So this is the Leaves Tunnel, the Tunnel of Love, where all the trees have bent over in the wind, creating this tunnel as part of the walkway. Just flew right in front of the lens. I've got to have caught them, surely. Look at them! The beautiful butterflies. Well, I don't know about the Tunnel of Love, but I love it. really noticed about Denmark is along these hiking trails, every couple of kilometres or so, there's a little picnic area and toilet and yeah, loads of facilities on the trail. And yeah, there's a little tap over there. There's a barbecue here behind me. There's a big, there's a big shelter under here, wooden shelter, where I guess you can sit and shelter from the weather. And then up here there's a little toilet, which I'll show you now. Yeah, very, very cool. We like it. And there are loads of bins here. Clearly a composting toilet, lots of sawdust in there, but also plenty of toilet roll too. Yeah, we're really impressed so far. The facilities here in Denmark have been amazing.
Well, we're about a third of the way round the walk that we're doing today. The first third was beach, which you'll have just seen. The next third is a forest, or cobble as it's known in the local dialect. That's probably pronounced incorrectly, so apologies to the Danish. But I'm particularly interested in this forest. I'm sure Kath is for the mushrooms. But apparently there's old mounds from a forest of many moons ago that was knocked down and buried, and there's also burial mounds in here as well, big stone domes. So I'm looking forward to trying to find those, because apparently there's all sorts of remains, old axes and bones and Neolithic bits and pieces. I bet we won't find any, but we'll have a look anyway.
Well, I'm a keen forager, and then I also like metal detecting, and I feel like I spend my life looking at the floor, because just walking across the beach there, I'm kind of scanning the floor constantly for a bit of worked flint, because there's absolutely loads of flint here, and of course we are in the home of the Vikings.
If I can find a flint axe in these burial domes, I'll be the happiest man alive.
Yeah, really nice so far. Denmark, you get a 10 out of 10 of us from us so far. We love it.
Yeah, but the Germans can keep their wind. If they could turn those big fans off they have on the other side, there's obviously blowing the wind this way, that'd be great. But other than that, it's really warm when you're out of the wind. Life goals.
Yeah.
Or the little one back there would be nicer.
Yeah.
Alright, let's time this, see if we can get across without getting wet feet.
I suspect this whole trip is going to be beset with weather talk, but you don't come to Northern Europe for the sun, do you? So these mounds either side of the path all through the forest are what's left over from beech trees that were all brought down in a great storm in 1967. And given the wind today, I can imagine it gets pretty stormy on this little peninsula that we're on.
Smell mushrooms.
As a little foraging tip, I always find my best edible mushrooms under beech and oak. Oh,
Yeah,
we found the first burial mound.
yeah, we took a deviation from the Gendarmstien to have a play around in the forest, and you might see the burial mounds after all. More mushrooms though.
Oh, they're tall, aren't they? Stu's just kept walking, but I found something interesting. I'm not sure what it is. A weird spiky fungus on the tree. It looks like a crust fungus, but it's got all these little spikes on it. Okay, let's have a look. It almost looks like it might be the start of like tear tooth or something, which is from the Heracleum species. Sorry for my binomials, I'm probably pronouncing them all wrong, but I'm not actually sure and I haven't found it often enough to know, but interesting all the same. So we've made it out to the dolmen or burial mound, and the info here says that these burial mounds were built by the Danish peasants from 3,500 to 3,200 BC, making them over 5,000 years old. How fascinating. Let's walk round. I bet it has. I'm thinking there were quite a few bodies in there. It's massive. I'm right in the centre of it now. Well, that is so interesting.
Found them.
Well, they're the biggest dolmen I've ever seen. There's a huge one behind us here, a small one just here, and then another big one just over here. Really, really fascinating. So about 5,000 years ago, this whole area, and in fact all of the UK and Northern Europe, would have been covered in dense forests. And it was those people 5,000 years ago who started to clear the land to farm it, giving us the landscape that we see today, which is incredibly devoid of trees, particularly in the UK.
Oh, well, that's one happy stew. If we'd followed the path, we'd never have found that. There was only one way into it. So what an absolute result. Yeah, I only came into the forest to show Kath some mushrooms and I got to see my burial mound. It's a win-win. Now we've got to try and find the path out this way.
In the last video, when we were in the forest in Germany, we found that huge commune of what I thought was sheathed wood tufts. And I talked about how I don't eat them because I don't feel confident enough to tell them apart from the funeral bell. And in all my time of foraging, I've never found the funeral bell, and I end up thinking, have I just never found it, or am I mistaking the two, which is even more reason not to eat them. But I've just found the commune here, which is much more widely spread and less clustered, which is one of the identifying features of the funeral bell. And the stems of these are much darker, and I can kind of tell the difference. And I think that these are funeral bells, but if there are any foraging experts watching these videos and you want to help me with the difference between these two mushrooms, let me know. But I think what we found here is Gallerina marginata, which is the funeral bell. And you can see, just like the sheathed wood tuft, they have this little ring around the stem, the flecked stem, but it's much darker on these, and the whole mushroom is a slightly more yellow colour. But just like the sheathed wood tuft, they also kind of fade out from the middle. So I'm not altogether sure, but I'm going to take a guess that these are funeral bells, and what we found the other day are sheathed wood tuft. But based on that knowledge, I'm still not going to put them in the pot, and you definitely shouldn't take my advice on this, because this is what I'm unsure about. So unless you're absolutely sure yourself, you shouldn't put either of them in the pot yourself either. It's not bad once you get underneath it, quite a bit. Definitely enough for lunch this week. How expensive is Denmark? So expensive we have to pick our own food. Oh, I didn't realise you were filming there. So lots of these bits on the top are a bit overeating really, but underneath there are some nice young petals that I'm taking the edge off.
And what is it?
Blackening polypore. Miraculous giganteus or something like that. But yes, blackening or giant polypore, identifiable by its sheer size. It grows on tree trunks, and by the fact that where it breezes and where slugs go, it blackens like this. So, and it's a really good meat substitute in dishes such as barbecued pulled pork and say duck and hoisin wraps in pancakes. You can just shred it with your hands and it makes like a shredded meat texture, and then it doesn't have a lot of flavour, but if you add the seasonings in and sauces and things, it's delicious. Well, that's the beach section done and the forest section done of this part of the Gendarmstien Trail. So this trail goes all the way along this part of the Flensburg Fjord, which has Germany on one side and Denmark on the other side. And it's called the Gendarmstien Trail because years ago, before the EU, and before the peace and unity we know today, the gendarme used to protect this whole trail, and the whole trail is made up of different parts that they used to patrol, giving it the name it has today. So rather than just protecting the land border, the gendarme would protect this border to stop people coming across this small piece of water. Almost 7k of the trail done, and now we're going to turn inland just to make it a circular walk, so we're not turning back on ourselves, and do another 5k through the inland, which will take us back to the van. Find this little wildflower meadow. I think it must be put in by one of the house owners, because there's a little sign with a pair of scissors telling you to pick your own blooms. I haven't picked any, I've just had a walk through, but it's gorgeous. You can see it's starting to die back because it's the end of the summer, but yeah, it must have looked, I mean, it still looks lovely now, but it must have been absolutely gorgeous when it was in full bloom. What a treat. Denmark, we love you. We're about 12k in now, and about 1.5 kilometres, I think, back to the van now. And we've only been here a couple of days, but Denmark, you have blown us away. I mean, literally blown us away today. But but yes, we're blown away by the scenery and the landscapes, as well as by the high winds.
On the plus side, the van's still there. Favourite part of the walk, that.
Well, that's 13 kilometres-ish, and we're back in the van.
Oh, That was a good walk. Oh. Hello!
Hi, Newly. Did you have a good walk? So after that absolutely delightful walk today, really beautiful despite the wind, we're off to do some island hopping. So we're off to Fyn now, which is the 3rd largest island in the Danish archipelago. I always say it wrong and Stuart always laughs at me, so there's a bit of a private joke there.
Not private now, the whole internet knows.
No, everyone knows that I can't say it now. So we're off to Fyn. Stu's had a little look and we found a little park up tonight alongside a canal, I think it is, and it's a nice, legal, safe park up. The car park we were in back there was really lovely, but there were no camping signs, so we don't want to push our luck. So we're heading over to Fyn, where we're going to do some things over the next couple of days. I'm going to take this park up next to the canal, which Stu says there's some really good services there, toilets along the canal and maybe even some showers too.
Yeah, 4 park ups on Park for Night, all next to each other. All got toilets. The reviews say the toilets are so clean you can eat off the floor, and there are hot showers available as well. Not that that bothers us because we're self-contained, but yeah, it's nice to know they're there.
Absolutely, and given how lovely that composting toilet was on the trail, I'm not at all surprised to hear how clean the toilets are. In fact, on the whole of Denmark so far, all I've seen is one piece of litter, a coffee cup, dropped on the ground. It's yeah, very lovely here. Welcome to Fyn, Denmark, and we're just north of the town of
Middelfart!
Stu's happy.
Snoghøj and Middelfart. God, I love Denmark.
Snoghøj.
Can't beat Middelfart.
Middelfart's pretty good, yes. Again, apologies to all the Danish people who might be watching. Well, the sun has just set, so it's a bit hard to see, but it looks like a lovely park up here by the water.
It does. There's a power station nearby, but we can't see it from here because there's trees all around us and the water right in front.
Yeah, all I can see is the sun setting on the water, so that'll do me. We're absolutely ravenous after our big walk and our drive, so we're going to call it a night and go and get ourselves some dinner, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you in the morning.
Good morning from a very sunny Denmark.
Slightly sunnier than it was yesterday,
yeah.
Which is why we took the day off and had a rest, because we've been non-stop since we left the UK.
It was a dry and miserable day yesterday, so we caught up on some work, and then in the afternoon we popped out to Holofgard Park. It's a kind of stately home and gardens with a sculpture trail and forest. So we did take some pictures while we were there though, so I think we'll close this video showing you a few snapshots from yesterday. I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.